On this episode of Stock to Not, we're finally going to be diving into the motor and we're installing a couple of hoodickies. Stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome to episode 9 of the Stock to Not build series. Build series where we take a stock Honda Grom, turn it into something modified. I'm your host, Photogromer. Today we are going to be installing a couple of things before we start breaking down the engine. So what I got here is a Takegawa Crankshaft bushing, so it's an extra bushing that helps stability. And then I also have a Koso chain tensioner. We're going to be installing both these guys today. And then we're also going to be breaking down the engine. So we're going to break down the head, we're going to break down the cylinder and take the piston off as well. And then next week we should be able to start installing the Koso big bore, so stay tuned for that. So if you guys aren't familiar with this build series, it's a Patreon funded build series. Names you see scrolling down below, those are people that individually support this channel and this build series. They're also behind me in the live chat. We record every Tuesday or Wednesday night, so if you guys want to join us in the live chat, watch how we film this, $1 a month gets you in the club, so link down below, check it out. Besides the patrons that support this show, we also have support from different manufacturing sponsors. So this week we got Koso. Koso is a big sponsor of this build series. Takegawa didn't hook us up with anything, so we got this off WeBike, 8,500 yen, straight from Japan. If you guys want to pick one up, link in the description below. All right, before we start diving into the motor and disassembling and installing those mods, we did a little prep work. So we put the engine at top dead center. To do that, we remove these two inspection glass windows. You'll see a little T in there and you'll see a notch. You just have to turn it clockwise until it matches up with that. Up front at the head, at the little chain adjuster hoodickie, you'll have an O or a 0 and then a little notch on your head itself. You need to keep rotating that till they line up. So the reason we did that is when we disassemble and reassemble the new motor, we need to be at top dead center to have the piston all the way forward. So I don't know if it matters for the chain adjuster itself or the bushing, but we did it anyway. Let me go ahead and introduce two people that are with me again this week. So Mr. Dirt Bike Tricks himself, he's back this week, so his back is doing better, I guess. Yeah, a little better. But he's got a new shirt on, courtesy of how Josh does it. His wife sent in some shirts, so Patreon here. And then we got Mike Braps working the camera, as always, doing an amazing job over there, Mr. Mike Braps. Yeah. So 2 new shirts. Let me show you my dirt bike trick. And then I got a Stock to Not shirt. So appreciate it, man. So Patreon's looking out. All right, let's go ahead and jump into starting to break this thing down and start installing some of these parts. Oh, we got a KTM here. Let's talk about that. Mike Brapp, show that KTM. So, Mr. Dirt Bike Tricks himself, this is where he gets his name from. He's got a what is it, Andrew? You talk.
2009 KTM 450. This is going to be Eric's test bike. So this is what's going to make him get a Supermoto 2. So new moto vlogs coming to you.
Yeah, so he's going to let me borrow that for like a day or two.
Yep.
And see if I don't die. If I don't die on it, it might be a Supermoto in the future for me. Get that dirt bike trick out of my shot and we're going to tear down this guy, Mr. Grom. All right, so we're going to take off the stator cover, remove this, and remove the sprocket, the front sprocket cover as well. But let me just show you what we're planning on installing today if it works. So we got the Takegawa bushing kit here. It's 8,500 yen from WeBike. And then we also have the Koso chain adjuster or tensioner, chain tensioner. All right, let's go ahead. Dirt bike tricks. Make sure it's on loosen. Jesus. Fuck, dirt bike tricks. All right, first thing is the sprocket cover. So while you're doing that, Andrew, why don't you tell us why your back hurts?
It was horrible. Yeah. I haven't even seen the full video yet.
All right, we got the cover off. What are we looking at here? What is all this? I've never taken this cover off.
So you got the flywheel, you got the starter sprag gear, which is a one-way gear. You got the starter, and yeah.
Where's our cam chain tensioner?
Cam chain tensioner, I believe, is all the way in the back behind there.
Okay, so we got to take this the flywheel?
Take the flywheel off.
Okay, I got a tool for that, so I had to buy a tool. Part number ETC 1070, it's a flywheel puller, so I guess it just pushes out on it, but I got it from Steady Garage. I'll put a link down below.
You get a breaker bar?
Huh?
We're gonna have to do a dirt bike trick.
No! No! No dirt bike tricks.
Ah!
Where did that come from?
Your sprag gear, it's fine.
It's good to have you back, Andrew. I missed you, man. Fuck me.
Yeah, it came off. We're good. So you can just show it.
All right, go ahead and speak to whatever the fuck you just did.
You guys.
That was the best.
So much just happened in that 10 seconds.
That needs to be a t-shirt.
Go ahead. What just happened?
It happened.
You good?
Yeah, we're good.
Nothing broke?
Why would anything break?
All right, we're gonna keep the flywheel stuff together. So there it is. Okay, I got this guy. What now? This goes in here somewhere?
That goes in there. Yep, it threads on.
Okay.
That's gonna log on the flywheel, and then you're gonna twist that. Do you have a crescent wrench to put over this?
All right, what do you got, Andrew? Talk us through it.
All
Where are we
right.
at?
So you thread on the big nut right onto the back of the flywheel. You twist the center nut all the way down in it. There you go. And then I'll hold it. Yep, go for it.
All right. So I'm just gonna crank this?
Yep.
You sure? Feels tight. Supposed to be that tight?
Yep. It's a flywheel, so. There you go.
That's good?
That's a flywheel.
That's a good noise?
Out. Yep, go for it. So the flywheel sits on a tapered cone, and it's gonna pop real hard. There you go, it's off.
All right. We'll keep that together. We'll keep this little guy together. This thing comes off?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And right here we have our cam chain tensioner, our stock one. There she is. The reinforced chain tensioner from Koso. We got our arm here, we got this wheel, and we got a washer. That washer is what eliminates any issues that the first batch had. So if you hear any issues with the tensioner, it's probably a first generation tensioner. Make sure you get the one with the washer. That fixes any problem with wobbles. Oh, we gotta loosen this. Oil plunger.
There's gonna be a spring on it, so
it pops out. Sometimes people get this confused with their oil.
Jesus Christ. Alright, we broke it loose.
I gotta go.
Gotta go too. Dirt Bike Tricks is back, baby.
Holy crap.
Taco Bell.
There you go.
Fucking A.
Told you there's a spring.
Where'd the rest of it go?
It's coming out.
No. What?
It's coming out, hold on.
Where's the nut?
It's down there, you're good.
What? Oh, here it is. Is this it?
Yeah, I told you to shot out. So be really careful.
Welcome back, dude. All right, what's step 2 on this?
So
Jesus
apparently
Christ.
there's a plunger.
Holy shit. What do you got there, Bike Tricks? Go ahead.
I just hit my knee.
You hurt, yeah?
I just hit my knee.
Shit.
It hurts so good.
He's down and out. What's the matter, man? What's wrong with this guy?
It hurts so bad.
Everybody say goodbye to Andrew. This will be his last episode. He's retiring due to medical reasons. All right, I'll do this shit. All right, after we do that, we got our cam tensioner here, which is now very loose, and we got a little bolt here. No, go ahead and stay down, buddy.
It hurts so bad.
Yeah, okay.
Who does this?
Harbor Freight, baby. So in this, based on what I can see on the directions, there's a bunch of little things in here. So we got our bolt, we got a washer, and then we got a sleeve inside there. So all 3 of these parts we're gonna use. We don't need this, we need this. So keep your bolt, your washer, your bushing, get rid of the stock adjuster, chain tensioner thingamajiggy. So we need all these all go in there. We got the washer, so this is the number 9, which is a washer that they include with it, which should fix any issues that any of the Koso first batch have. Right now it says washer only apply if chain tensioner is too tight after fastening, but from what I've read, everyone has to use that, so we're just gonna start with that. Andrew is being careful not to move the chain, because what would that do?
If you move the chain too much up here, you can throw it out of time. If you skip a tooth, the motor's gonna run like crabbing, possibly on a valve. So.
Yeah. So be careful with your chain once you take it out. Now we got this guy. This is the second, the bigger one. This guy, we got the Koso, I would assume facing out, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna take that guy off.
Yep.
Okay. Taking this guy out. There she is. And this is just straight back in. Like so.
There you go.
Okay. And we'll torque these guys down the spec here in a bit.
So you got the plunger that you took out. They supplied a white cap. I guess there's a different size. It looks the same, but what we're gonna do as they say, you're just gonna pull this black plunger out, put the new one on from what it looks like.
What the? What step did where in the instructions say smack it on the ground?
Yeah, we don't worry about that. So you're gonna put that plunger right back up in there. You have a spring. You're gonna compress the spring back in there.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna look up some torque specs. I think it's actually listed on this. Let's see what we got. So torque, the bottom spring is 22 newtons. So I'll get my torque wrench going, get that ready for 22 newtons. So the Koso instructions only have it in newtons, and you know, we're in America, so if you don't have this, I recommend it. It's the Honda service manual. It'll have newtons, and then it'll also have foot-pounds. So 22 newtons equates to 16 as far as the service manual goes, 16 foot-pounds, and then live chat did the math, said 16 and 1/4 foot-pounds. So we're going to round down to 16, go with what the book says. Yeah, there you go, 16 foot-pounds, so not much. All right, guys, got my new KTM Super Duke Moto 490 RR here. It's close, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right, Mr. Mike Braps has to leave. He's got a Tinder date. He swiped right. She swiped right. I need my camera back, Mike Braps, before you leave. Everybody say thanks, Mike, for the amazing recording job. Hopefully this week again. We'll see. Give my camera back, Shakes. All right, guys. Everybody say bye to Mr. Mike Braps.
Bye.
Wish him luck.
Good luck.
No, you.
Yeah.
On the Tinder.
Yeah, me too.
All right, man. All right, we'll be right back with more dirt bike tricks after this message from our sponsors.
Ask your doctor about Viagra Single Pack.
All right, guys, Mike Braps left, so hopefully he seals the deal tonight. We got Mr. Dirt Bike Trick still here, so we're done with the cam tensioner. So just for these bolts right here, just so you know, there are torque values, so I think it's like 7 here, 12 there. I opt, especially with a low value like that, the torque wrench is not as accurate as you'd hope it to be, so it's easy to snap those bolts. So what I do is hand tight, give it a little bit extra, a little bit more on that one, and that's it, call it a day. So now we're going to move on to the Takegawa cam shaft stabilizer, I guess it's called. So quick note, if you buy this guy from WeBike, well, you're going to buy it, it's coming from Japan regardless, but WeBike itself is in Japan, and the directions that they send you is all in kanji. So if you don't read kanji or Japanese, you're kind of going to have to just make out the pictures. And there's some information online, but we're kind of going to just walk you through how to install this guy. So Andrew spent the last like 10 minutes looking at these pictures. He thinks he's got it. So Andrew, come on in.
So we got our kit here. Let's pop this open.
So it comes with a new gasket, pretty nice.
Yeah, let's not rip that.
Yeah. So they use staples, so you just got to be careful on that.
We got the kit here. You have your flywheel nut. You got a, looks like what holds the bearing down in there, and then you got 3 bolts. It's fairly simple for what it is. You're really going to go to the stator. You're going to take these 3 bolts out. We're going to put the bearing in there, and we're going to put 3 bolts back in it, and that's it. So 3 bolts in the center.
And again, I'm not an expert on this. I kind of leaned on other people that did the Koso 174 valve. I think it was Vinny and Jacob. They both recommended using this. So it's supposed to be just a better stabilizer, so helps stabilize crankshaft?
Crankshaft.
Crankshaft. So the crankshaft is now getting a 4 valve, a lot more force being put on that stock crankshaft. This just helps it out a little bit, so it helps keep it from vibrating and being a little bit more secure in there.
So I guess fairly simple.
We probably have to put some oil on that, huh?
Yeah, let's put some oil on it.
I don't know if it calls for oil, but any bearing, it's good to just give it a little tip. Yeah. So just lube her up a little bit.
There you go. You're just gonna pop the bearing right in there. Should be a pretty tight fit. Make sure you're flush. There's gonna be a little recess right here. That's gonna go towards the bearing. There you go. 3 bolts.
These bolts are similar to the engine case bolts, so 8 mils, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the 8 mils are like 9, so I don't like to go too ham on these, just a little bit. It's real easy to snap these. That's it, don't go bonkers with the ugga-dugga. Up to you, but I never torque these little guys, easy to snap them. All right, I went ahead and scraped off the gasket. There was a little area where it was coming up, so went ahead and just took it off, broke it off, and then had to scrape it, so got most of it off. We got a new gasket that Takegawa includes with our kit, so we're just going to replace it and not have to worry about it again. All right, we're set. We got our bushing in there. We got our new stabilizer. Now we have this little guy. Where does this little guy go?
So we're gonna start reinstalling the flywheel. So you have your flywheel, you have a wood rough key slot, you have a wood rough right here. So you're just gonna match those up. All right, you have that nut that Takegawa supplied. That's gonna go on the outside where your original one was, and that's gonna go also on that balance bearing. It's gonna give your crankshaft a little bit more stability.
It comes with the directions it'll show you on there, but basically the cone goes in, right?
Yeah, the
bowl, it kind of goes like that.
Yeah.
Goes like that. So not like that, but more like that. It's like almost hugging it.
It bowls away.
Yeah. Okay.
So we put that back on, thread that on, and we're gonna use the flywheel pulley holder.
So we got this little guy, little flywheel tool, which should stop this whole thing from spinning once I try to tighten this guy down, and that is tightened down to one squiggly line and one with 2 dots on top of it. Oh, I got it. 64 newtons or 47 foot-pounds on this guy. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna get my torque wrench to 47. So this guy again will be 47. So he's holding this with a flywheel tool, so this just kind of applies pressure, keeps this, applies pressure here, pulls back on that, keeps this from spinning. I gotta get this down to 47, so that's pretty heavy. So we're gonna start pulling on it now. Ready? That's gonna be it right here.
I just don't want to pinch it.
There it is.
Want to try it one more time?
Yep. Okay, 47 foot-pounds. We are torqued. We are good. So small bolts, I don't mind going hand tight on those and maybe taking the ugga-dugga on some of the big ones that don't really matter. But the guys that control the motor and stuff that can really go bad real quick, I recommend torquing down the proper way. So this one, the spinner bolt, the clutch bolt on the inside, those are things that you really got to do it the right way. It's a pain in the ass, but if you have a friend and you have the right tools, it's not too bad.
All right, next we're gonna get the starter reduction gear. There's gonna be a gear on the back, and it's gonna match up to this sprag gear. So we're just gonna put that in. Don't worry about the little dot. That's just reference to if it's moving or not. You're gonna align it with the starter gear and the back gear. You can get your little dowel pin and the spacer. Push that in there, and you're good to go. Now we can start installing the side cover. So you're gonna get your gasket. We're gonna pop that on there, and we're gonna get the side cover. We're gonna align it, and be careful because it's magnetic. So it's gonna want to stick. Yeah, exactly.
So this is one big magnet, guys.
It's strong too.
Yeah, she's pulling on it. Watch your fingers, don't pinch them. Hold on.
This one's a little bit out. All right.
Pretty good.
It looks solid. All the holes look good.
So we take our rubber mallet and just beat it.
Yeah, we can beat it. You can hit it with your hand.
Now what? We just put our case bolts back in. Something different about this side versus the other side. They're not all the same. I didn't know that. So this one's a short one up top. The other ones are all long ones. So now you know, if you didn't. All right, guys, very exciting time on season 1 of Stock to Not. We're finally going to start breaking down this motor to install our big bore from Koso. So before we start breaking it down, I just want to talk about some of the things that you guys should really take advantage of and really take to heart, and that's organization. So especially if you do any motor work, if you're just replacing the head, the piston, whatever it is, just get organized. So we just took a few minutes, cleaned off the area here, laid out the tools we need. We got our service manual. Just go step by step. Just kind of glance over it. Make sure you got everything ready to go before you start breaking it down. This should be a good piston, a good head, a good cylinder. So if everything's still good, I might put it on the white bike. So I want to keep everything organized. And one thing to note, if you don't have your front fender off, you're probably going to have to take it off to be able to get this to slide off. You guys will see in a second. But just to get more room, take your front fender off. It'll just make life a lot easier when you're disassembling this guy. So again, we're going to keep all these. We got 2 long bolts. We can keep these separate. And once we take this off, we might put it back into the cylinder just to keep it organized. So how do you get this from stop moving? Just ugga-dugga it?
Yeah, ugga-dugga it off. Yeah.
So make sure you guys have ugga-dugga on standby. If you don't have the DeWalt yet, link in the description below. Now wait, I just moved it a little bit. Does that matter?
No, we're going to be taking it all apart, so.
No, I mean top dead center?
No, we'll put it back at top dead, so you're good.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So with this, you just wiggle this guy out, right?
Yep.
And then there we go. Pop it off the chain. Actually, I'll leave it on.
So you can take
Get it off the chain. All right, got my gear hoodie off. Now we got these guys up front. We're saying they are this size. This is a 12 mil. So these are just little caps with washers, bolt cap things, and then you got these 4 rods you're gonna see. They're gonna extend all the way. Yeah, we can pop this.
We're gonna disconnect the throttle body cables.
Yep.
This is gonna be a Phillips on the back side.
And we're going to be replacing the throttle body cables or the throttle cables, so stay tuned for that. So these are stock ones on there, but be able to disconnect it. Just got to take it off.
So we're just gonna tuck that away. We don't need that for now.
So this should slide out now, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna remove the spark plug,
Oh yeah.
boot, the coil. So there's a little connector for the O2 sensor that's on the side of the head. If you follow it all the way back, there's gonna be a connector. Disassemble it if you're doing this way.
So if you're keeping the O2 sensor, reusing it for your head, which most likely you will be if you're just replacing some parts, to take that off this guy, you can leave it on there unless you're replacing the head, right?
Yeah, if you're replacing the head. Then
So if you're replacing the head, that's the only time you really have to worry about it, but there's a special tool so you don't pinch the wire, which we don't have to worry about it. So once you get that off, this guy's just gonna, oh, we got some wires here, so a couple throttle body wires here. All right, so you just gotta use shear force and pinch these guys off. So, all right, keeping the wire harness separate. Now everything should, oh, wait, we got one more up here.
Yeah, oh, that's the injector.
So what's even easier, is you can just take the whole throttle body off and all this crap just stays there. So if you're replacing the head, don't do all this crap, just take the throttle body off with these bolts, and then you don't have to worry about disconnecting all these, just put it aside. So apparently these little injector plug clips can be a pain in the ass, so Andrew's digging in my toolbox. But confirmation from the live chat, patrons, Trolley, he's done it, apparently. He said it can be a pain in the ass too, so,
so
we'll get it.
twist it there.
Twisting it.
All right, don't pull, push forward, down like into, yeah, there we go.
Pushing in.
That's golden, push it, pull out.
Woo! There she goes. Slid right out. So what'd you do?
On the back side, there's gonna be 2 little tabs internally. You gotta spread those apart, which releases it from this tab, and then it comes out. You just gotta release them outwards.
All right, so big moment. We're going to take the head off. So we're just going to pull off the head here, and when you get to this point, you might hit your fender if you have that there. So just turn your wheel to the right or the left, or take your fender off, and then it'll slide right off. You have your 4 rods right there, and then just your stock head. So you got your stock cam right here, which you could put a Koso cam in if you want to do that. You got your valves up here if you want to adjust your valves, and then your 2 valves in the back right there. Now we're left with our cylinder, and then we have this bolt right here, which holds a little rubber guide hoodie in there. So we're going to take that guy off, and then we're going to pull the cylinder off. This little guy right here, when you take that off, it kind of just flops around in there, so you kind of just got to work it out. We'll just take our gasket off real quick. Let's see if you can get in there. All right, so here she is, just a rubber guide. So we're going to put this with this. Just keep these together. Now we know where they go, put in our box of tricks. Then this is what, our temp gauge?
Yep.
So unplug that guy, tuck that guy back. All right, now once we pull this out, you can see the piston in there. You probably can't see it from here, but we can see the piston already crowning. You got a couple of dowel pins right here, so just be mindful of those guys. Don't let them fall away or fly away on you. And then when I pull this out, Andrew's gonna just get ready to birth out that piston. So you want to pull, or you want to
pull? Yeah.
Okay. I'll hold the piston.
So with this, you want to put even pressure on both sides.
Just wiggle her out. Okay. The cylinder slides out. Now, if you have, let me see that guy. So if you have any knocking or anything like that, you might have wear inside your cylinder ring. So just kind of look in there. This one looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the piston itself. All right, so here's the piston here, and the rings, which you can kind of see right here. Well, these are the oil rings, but then the actual rings right here on the piston. So these look pretty good, so it wasn't abused, so I'm probably going to use that on the other bike. Here is an example of an abused piston. So there you go. You can see how much was rubbing against the wall, so that's a good side. And then the not so good side. So if you got any ticking or knocking, chances are this thing's rubbing against your cylinder wall. All right, now we got this little like retainer ring in here on both sides.
Wrist pin clip.
What is it?
Wrist pin clip.
A wrist pin clip. You got to rotate it, so there's like a little opening somewhere in here, so you got to rotate it so you get it in this little sleeve, and then you can pop it out. Last time I popped it out, it went across the room, so we'll see if we can do better this time. Okay. Oh, there's that little guy. All right. I might just throw this in the rocker. I don't know. Actually, there might be a different pin. I would assume it's the same one, but I'm just going to throw it in the rocker. Why don't you stuff a couple of rags in there so stuff doesn't get in there. I'm going to reuse this guy on the stunt bike when I rebuild that guy. So throw that guy in there, and then, yeah, we're pretty good. So we got a gasket here, which we'll probably break down. You got a metal gasket, which you might need to buy a new one. Besides that, man, you got anything else, Andrew?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys, this is a pretty exciting moment. We got everything broken down on this guy finally. So we're just going to go through, show you what the stock is versus the the Koso 170. So first off, we kind of got a little combination here. So we got the 2-valve head here with the throttle body, and then what else do we have on here? The injector.
Yep, injector intake. Stock
cam. So this is the stock head. Let's just compare it to the 4-valve. So Andrew's holding the 4-valve right here, bringing it in right so you guys can see it. All right, so comparison, just apples to apples here. Let's hold it the same way. There we go. All right, so instead of 2 valves here, you have 4 opening up. So what's that doing, Andrew?
So you're going to get more airflow. You have 1 exhaust valve and you have 2 exhaust valves. 2 exhaust valves even bigger than the stock one. So, and then you have 2 intake valves compared to the 1. You're basically doubling the airflow through there.
Nice. Okay, and then we got a bigger cam as well, right?
Yep, you won't be able to see it on this, but it is definitely bigger lobes. There's no real way of actually looking at it unless we pull it out.
Okay, bigger cam. He doesn't have the covers on his yet, but inside here it looks pretty similar. It's just 1 instead of 2 on each side. And then, all right, let's go to the next part. You got other ports. You got something else? What else?
No, well, we can't really see right now, but you can actually look at the exhaust port, how big compared.
A different size?
Yeah, exactly, both of them.
Okay.
And then you have the intake port, which is dual.
Intake port, which is
the throttle body. You can't see it. So.
Okay, up here.
Yeah, definitely bigger both ways.
Okay, and then let's go to the cylinder. So this is where you get your your 125 cylinder versus your. So when you talk about the size and displacement, it's going to be how big it is, how wide it is. So 125 cc's versus 170. Let's just compare to different cylinders. So there you go. So you can see noticeably bigger. Pretty simple right there. Everything else is pretty much the same, just a bigger hole. And then let's go to the piston. So same thing. Inside the cylinder is a piston, and that piston is what is going up and down on your crankshaft. So talk to this. So the top looks different, right? It's not flat.
Yep. You're going to have the recesses for all the valves.
Hold on, let me get this in focus. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to have all the recesses for the valves because you're going to have a lot more compression. That's filling up the space more. Unlike that, it's domed. That's actually pushed out. So.
And then, yeah, totally different looking piston, and then obviously bigger. All right, there you go. All right, guys. So progress, huge progress, right?
Yeah.
So no dirt bike tricks. Thanks for coming back this week and not doing any dirt bike tricks that broke anything. Appreciate that. Of course, how Josh does it, and his wife. Thanks for the shirts. So everyone in Patreon, thanks for joining us again tonight. Good episode. So we're making some good progress, guys. We've got it totally broken down. I think next week we'll start reassembling the Koso 170, and then we got to map out. We got to do something with the exhaust and the wideband, and
yeah, we got to drill the hole for the bong and then O2 sensors.
So we're not going to start it up. We're going to physically probably put everything back together.
Yeah.
Get everything lubed up, and then tighten down, and then we got to do more. We got to do more steps before we actually crank it up, right?
More prep work, yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting there, guys. So big steps. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this, so we're getting there, guys. Next episode should be a big one. Again, this episode, thanks to Koso for sponsoring the chain tensioner. Yeah. Yep. We're learning here. All right, guys. So anyway, we're going to end this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 9. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. We'll be monitoring the comments in the future months and years to come. So we'll kind of make this a community. If you guys have any specific questions, we'll try to get you some of the answers. Hopefully we captured a lot of it right here today. All right, guys, we're going to end episode 9 here. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like down below if you did. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe link. And we'll see you next Tuesday night if you're a patron. If you're not, we'll see you next Saturday morning for episode 10 when we start putting on the Koso Big Bore. Up top, big guy. Have a good day.